I came across the first flowers in the woods. Here's my little guy. Oh, he's in the shade. Come here. Okay, good. Hey. Oh, he did a beauty. Wow, it's so amazing. I think it's almost 20 degrees here. Back to the sugar shack and enjoying it again without it being freezing cold. And I've gathered maple syrup. I've been drinking it, and I want to share with you guys. I changed my diet, and I want to share with you guys what I've been doing and how it all ties into alchemy. And I find that fascinating. So I'm going to sit down in the shack and chat with you guys. And I also want to read a little bit from the Secret Teachings of All Ages, because I found some stuff in there too. So I just brought you along today. Hi guys. I had a little bit of a rough winter with my health. Nothing like COVID or anything. But I had been taking apple cider vinegar and honey and turmeric for, I guess, about 2 years now, or maybe more, to keep my pH balanced, right? And I had heard that turmeric is really good for glutathione. And this will help you, keep your muscles working properly and keeping healthy. So all of a sudden this winter, I started drinking coffee. And I've never drank coffee in my whole life on a regular basis. Like maybe, a little bit here and there, but one day I'd take a sip or something, but I hardly ever drank it consistently. Okay, so then I started to drink it because it was keeping me awake later in the evening so I could do some research and stuff. And then I started to all of a sudden get huge stomach cramps. I had stomach cramps for probably almost a month, okay? And I started to realize it was to do with my digestive system and my bowels. And I don't like going to doctors, especially with the COVID now. Like, I'm just like, I don't want to go near those places at all. So I started to try to do some research and try to figure out, what was going on. So my first thing was like, oh, maybe I have worms. Okay. I know it's like, sounds crazy, but I live with a lot of animals. So I was thinking, well, I have dewormed myself in the past and we deworm the animals regularly, but I thought, well, maybe I have worms. And so, trying to get the worm medication from the pharmacy, because when I do the holistic deworming, it was upsetting my bladder. So I was getting bladder problems, that was getting hypersensitivity, and then I had stomach cramps, and I was bloated. Like, my stomach was bloated. It was a mess, right? And so I was like, what is going on? And I've been having like acne, and this has been going on for years, and my skin's always kind of like inflamed, and my pores are big, and I'm going, I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat a lot of garbage. I exercise, and so I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I have to figure out what's going on. And of course, if you go to the doctor, they'll just put you on more drugs, and I didn't want to go down that route. So then I started, researching more. So they did the deworming. Still, no, it didn't really help. So then I was like, okay, get rid of the coffee, start, trying to change my diet. And then I found this doctor online who's from Peru, and he was speaking about how, the germ theory doesn't really exist, which I do believe it doesn't really exist. I don't believe you can get sick from a virus. This is my personal opinion, okay? My dad was a prisoner of war for 5 years, and he swore he was barefoot from France to Poland, lived in these horrendous conditions, never got sick. Okay, so it's not, I don't believe sickness is something you get. I think it's something your body is purging. Okay, and so this doctor from Peru started speaking about this. And he was saying that, Corona and the COVID is like, it's all a bunch of BS, and that it's really a toxicity in your blood. So then he started talking about that, you need to drink salt water. Manually harvested sea salt, and drink this 3 times a day. So I was like, does this guy like really know what he's talking about? So I researched it, and then you can do a liver cleanse and do salt water and grapefruit and olive oil. So I did that for a 24-hour fast. It was so disgusting. I don't know if you want to do it, but it was like really disgusting to get down. You had to take a straw, and it was like so salty. It was like extreme salt. Okay, they made you put a lot in. So I was like, because when the liver's not working well, that you can have bad skin and stuff. So I was like, okay, maybe it's my liver. Maybe it's my liver is just like, toxic from whatever, and I need to cleanse it. So I did that. And then I started to feel better. And I'll show you a picture 24 hours before I did it, and then 24 hours after. I look like a totally different person. Okay, I'm in my late 50s, and my hair was starting to fall out. My hair was going gray, but it was starting to get like thinner. It was starting to fall out. My skin, like red nose and acne. I was just like, okay, I look like a mess, So, and then 24 hours later, I look like a totally different person. I'll share the pictures before and after. So then I keep listening to him, and he starts talking about how turmeric is like a medicine, and that you shouldn't take it every day because it's an anti-inflammatory, and it's like eventually going to like put you out of balance if you just keep taking it all the time. And he talks about the vegetarian diet. And eating cooked vegetables is like the worst thing you could do. And I'm like, oh my God, I've been eating cooked vegetables for years now. No wonder. And so he says to eat everything raw. So that's what I've been doing for the last, I think maybe a week now, week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. I feel so much better, okay? And my stomach isn't bloated anymore. My bowels are coming back normal. My skin's cleared up. I look younger. And I'm like, oh my God, this is it. Okay, so you can eat vegetables, but just not cooked. And eat raw eggs, which, I know is good when you're doing like weight training and stuff. And then the salt water. And of course, I've been mixing it with maple water from my maple trees with salt. It's absolutely delicious because it's just a slight tint of sweetness, and then with the salt, and it's just divine. And I've been drinking that, and it's really electrolytes. Like, I know they tell you don't have salt in your diet. It's terrible. Oh my God, your water retention and na. But if you listen to this doctor, he's basically telling you your cells need to hydrate, and you need the salt to hydrate your cells, and that detoxifies your blood. And of course, electrolytes, that's how you make electrolytes. You make electrolytes with salt and water. We do this with the horses, okay? So I know that it works, okay? So, but now I just tried it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like, it's like a heaven send, okay, that this guy was on YouTube. He doesn't even have like 2,000 subs, okay? But yeah, most people are going to say he's a quack, but he's also talking about colloidal silver. I ordered some for your gums because my gums were receding, and I don't want my teeth pulled, and I don't want to have, posts put in. So anyhow, so that I really do think there's something to this. But the thing that I want to talk to you guys about is that it ties into alchemy. Okay, so when you look at the alchemic pyramid, they always talk about the body being salt, and then the soul being sulfur, and then the mind being mercury. Okay, so this all ties in to your body being salt. And so when I started taking this liver cleanse, I was so out of it. I felt terrible, right? So I was like, I'm taking this stuff. I lay down on the couch, and I was like, I'm going to watch the Twin Towers, I think, of the Lord of the Rings. The first thing that comes on at the beginning of the movie, the little two hobbits are falling down a cliff, and one of them drops a box, and he's all freaking out, and I think Frodo goes to try to get it, and the cliff wasn't tall, so they get down, they kind of laugh about it, and they go, oh, you caught the box. And the guy goes, well, what's in it? He goes, oh, it's salt from the Shire. Okay, so the salt, okay, there's something about this, okay, because we're like, 97% water, and I don't believe we came from monkeys. I think we're from the sea. I think we came from the sea. This is why Neptune and Pisces are all tying in to alchemy. And I'm going to explain that when you take my online course. I'm going to show you all the signs that work with this triangle. Okay. Now the sulfur is your soul. Okay. So your soul, oh, I got wax dripping here. Your sulfur is your soul. So when I started looking up about turmeric, and of course I knew turmeric makes glutathione, and I started talking, researching about sulfur in the body. Guess what comes up? Glutathione. Okay, so I did a freaking alchemy experiment with my body. I overdosed in the sulfur, the soul. Maybe that's why I'm so obsessed with the soul. And then I was lacking in my body. Well, and working with my body, and then so there's salt and drop the turmeric. I'm just drinking the salt water. I still do my apple cider vinegar with honey, but in the morning, but just to keep the pH balance. And then I feel so much better. I have so much energy now. It's insane. I've been gardening every day for hours, like digging, and I haven't done much all winter, right? And no muscle pain, nothing. Okay, and I'm up like I don't know, I sleep like 7 hours, and I'm like go 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 all day long. So I don't know, if this is like the magic alchemic mysteries, because when you can balance your soul and your salt, your body, then you can get up to spirit and to Mercury, which is your mind. Okay, and this is when you can start to see the illusion of what's happening here. But I just found it all very fascinating that I was kind of doing this alchemic experiment without even knowing it. Okay, so I wanted to share that with you guys because I think it was just like it was just nuts for me. So I wanted to read from the book here of Secret Teachings of All Ages. I have to put my reading glasses on because, oh yeah, he does talk about if you keep this diet up and you don't binge on no starch, okay? So no potatoes, no rice, no anything starchy. So no like flour, anything like this, okay? That's the hardest thing, bread, getting off the bread. I was binging on bread all winter. It was just terrible. Bread and coffee, and I was like, I don't know what happened to me. I was just like trying to, I don't know, take shortcuts, or I was just getting lazy. And so now I don't cook because it's all raw food. So you don't have to do the cooking, but you have to, still think about what you're eating. But the point is, you don't need to eat as much. You don't need to eat as much when you're doing this salt water. You're not hungry. So, sorry, I was just going to check my book light here. Okay, so I found this part about the dragon, the great dragon, with wings stretching across the sky and light streaming in all directions from his body. This is on page 58. Okay, so the great dragon called Hermes by name and asked him why he thus meditated upon the world mystery. Terrified by the spectacle, Hermes prostrated himself before the dragon to reveal his identity. The creature answered that his name was Pomeandres, the mind of the universe. So the great dragon is the mind of the universe. It's like consciousness. Okay, so I explained to you where the dragon is in the sky. It's going from Virgo through the Shambhala star, through Libra into Scorpio, and then the tail is up by the point of Sagittarius. But we're starting to understand, the Ouroboros, the dragon eating its own tail. It's the mind of the universe. So it's like consciousness. This is what the dragon really is. And saying here, the creative intelligence, the absolute inferior of all. Okay, and then it says here, the Pomeanders as the god Osiris. Okay, so now we're really getting the tree of life is Osiris. It's the consciousness of the universe, the mind of the universe. So yeah, so this is, I wanted to see that, show you that. And then it says here, at the word of the dragon, the heavens opened, and an innumerable light powers were revealed, soaring through the cosmos on pinions of streaming fire. Hermes beheld the spirit of the stars, the celestial controlling of the universe, and all the powers which shine with radiance of the one fire, the glory of the sovereign mind. And he talks about it in here, um, again with Osiris. The mysteries of Isis, and the trunk of the pine tree is cut. The middle of the trunk is nicely hollowed out. The idol of Osiris, made from those hollowed pieces, is buried. This is a ritual. Hermes' desire to know why men should be deprived of immortality for the sin of ignorance alone. Okay, so we're not allowed to be immortal because we're ignorant. We don't choose to research and learn. Okay, the great dragon answered, to the ignorant, the body is supreme, and they are incapable of realizing the immortality that is within them. So it's like everybody's just concerned about their bodies, right? What they can acquire, the material world. The material world is your body. So everybody in this realm is just concerned about, they don't want to die. It's all about their body, right? And this is kind of what we're living through right now. Knowing only the body, which is subject to death. They believe in death because they worship that substance, which is the cause and reality of death. So it's because that's why we can't become immortal, because we're too attached to the body. Then Hermes asked how the righteous and the wise pass to God, to which Pomeandros replies, which is the dragon, that which the word of God says, say I, because the Father of all things consists of light and life, whereof man is made. If therefore a man shall learn and understand the nature of life and light, then he shall pass into the eternity of life and light. So this is all, it's amazing. So it's fun to start to read this book. I had it for a good year, and I just never opened it because it was like, I just felt it was like really overwhelming. And I needed to kind of do my own research before I took it on so that I could grasp it. But now I'm starting to feel like, it's all making sense when I read it. So it's fun. The path of immortality is hard, and only a few find it. It's only a few that will make it through. The rest await the great day when the wheels of the universe shall be stopped, and the immortal sparks shall escape from the sheaths of substance. Woe until those who wait. Yeah, it's going to be woe for them. It's not going to be pleasant. For they must return again, unconscious and unknowing, to the seed ground of stars and await a new beginning. So they have to go through the whole cycle again, right? It's like 360 lifetimes to get back. So then they're saying here, hang on, I lost my spot. Those who are saved by the light of the mystery, which I have revealed unto you, O Hermes, and which I now bid you to establish among men, because he was the messenger, right? Hermes had to take on this mind, universe, consciousness of the dragon and bring it to man, shall return again to the Father who dwelleth in the white light, and shall deliver themselves up to the light, and shall be absorbed into the light, and in the light they shall become powers in God. This is the way of good, and is revealed only to them that have wisdom. So if you don't have the wisdom or the ability to open your mind to see the world in a different view, you don't have the ability to get into that light or, get to this higher consciousness. So that's really what it's all about. And it's just fun that it's starting to all make sense now what the dragon is. Instead of fearing the dragon or thinking that we have to, I was thinking that we had to maybe battle the dragon. But it's not really battle the dragon. It's just to understand the dragon. I guess it's not to fear it, really. That's what it all comes down to. So that you can, learn and take on this consciousness, this more universal consciousness. So I recommend you guys getting this book. Oh, I guess it's going in backwards on it. It's called The Secret Teachings of All Ages by Manly P. Hall. And I'm going to keep sharing with you when I find stuff that's really relevant. But there's so much in here. There's sometimes like I'm like, oh, I should tell them that. And then I try to write it. I try to write on it just so I remember to come back and so I can share with you guys. But if anybody gets this book, I saw a video where a man is describing alchemy, and he had gotten this book in the original, like one of the original hard copies. It was a huge book, and it had all the pictures in it were amazing. Like there are some pictures in here, like there's quite a few good ones in here. You can kind of see there's quite a lot. But in the bigger book, it came out, obviously more brilliant. But I haven't got to all this yet, so I'm hoping that I can get my reading done more so I can get there when it comes to the online school. But I have figured out how to change the sword in the stone and turn it into a wand. So it's really like Star Wars, right? You need to have your wand. And I have figured that out through astrology. Okay, so it's really exciting because it comes out to the numbers. 33 is in there, 24. I figured out the 222. Actually, somebody told me what that is. It all ties into orbits again and phi. So I want to share that all with you guys, but I need to do another video. And I also wanted to talk about the Tir Nanog, which is the Tuatha De Danann. And I don't know if you guys ever heard that song Van Morrison did. And he's talking about, making it through to the inner earth and, becoming free. So this is really fun because it's all starting to make sense, what all these mythologies are all about. And I want to do a little video on that. So I'm going to do that, but I just wanted to shoot this one together because I was coming down here and finally got my moccasins on because it was all wet and I couldn't wear them before. And I wanted to share this with you and show you how I did, taking the maple syrup. I have a little video clip of me pouring the maple water out and stuff. So I hope everybody's well. I know it's really stressful seeing what's going on. And there's petitions going around here in Quebec, trying to fight the vaccine passports. I see some of the states are already starting to fight them. One of my subs said to me, oh, it's, like the Hunger Games, which I always said. And she's like, the 13th district in the Hunger Games, and, we have the 13th Confederate States. And it seems like they're the ones that are starting to protest the vaccine passport. So I think this is all tying in back to the Civil War, which I kind of predicted before. And so it would make sense that it would be the 13th original states fighting the rest of the United States. But now it's not them that are bad, because in the way the war was, it was like all the southern states were bad because of the slavery, but now they're fighting for their freedom. So it's kind of fun because it's twisted, right? So it's like the black people were fighting for their freedoms in those states, and then that energy is coming forth now, fighting the freedoms of the vaccine passports. So it looks like that's what's kind of playing out. I pray to God, Quebec, because we're all tied into, in DNA-wise, to the Confederate States, because most of those were the Welsh, and going way back to the Lincoln Wars and the Great MAGA Charter. And so I'm hoping Quebec will have, the awakening. My fridge broke and a repairman came and he was like a freedom fighter. And he's like, I want to ride my motorcycle. And I don't like that, that the premier is making us stay in. $1,500 fine if you're 15 minutes late after curfew here. I have a friend that got nailed, $1,500. Police harassing this man because he was over at his girlfriend's house, came knocking on the door. But you're allowed if you live alone. So he says, look, I live alone, she lives alone, I'm fixing her stove. And so the police left him alone. But it's getting crazy, right? And, for me, it's not so bad because I'm isolated. But, you start to realize what's going on, right? So, and then Ontario has just gone into stay home lockdown. It's getting worse there. And I think all summer it's just vaccines going to get worse. The COVID's going to get worse because they want people to get vaccinated. They want to scare the the crap out of people to get the vaccine. And then once you have the vaccine, of course you're going to do the vaccine passport. Of course you're going to go, I have my freedom. I took the vaccine. So I want my freedom. So I'm going to take that vaccine passport. And it's going to be a paper passport, I assume, for a little while. And then they're going to say, oh, those non-vaxxers, they just cheat and lie and they're forging vaccine passports. So we have to make it digital. And then they'll go to the needle array tattoo, right? So you can see how it's all playing out. Now, will this all play out before October this year of the Osiris Festival timeframe? I'm not sure how fast it's going to all run. We have to just wait and see. If it doesn't happen this year, we have to live through this all the way around again to the end of October, I'm assuming, because it has to tie into the mythology. And then, it'll be, maybe next year, which is the 2022, which is the 22 catch 22, right? It's the Fool. The Fool card was originally the 22nd card of the tarot deck, not the 0 card. Okay, just go look at the history of it. Okay, so maybe we need to get to the year 22. So it's possible that it'll be next year. So, right now we're in the universe card number, right? The 21st. The 22 is the Fool, and the Fool gets to escape. Okay, he doesn't get caught. You can't catch 22. And if you go look at the Soul movie from Disney, her name's 22, the one that, is the Bodhi, that knows how to kind of just be happy through life and let all the chaos go to the side. But at the same time, we need to fight to stop the vaccine passports to help as many souls, because the more souls that say no to it, there's a chance that, we can save more souls. This is really what I'm looking at, is just to try to prevent more madness, to try to slow the madness down. But, the magnetic poles are still moving towards the equator, so we can't stop everything. You just kind of go, well, there's not going to be any electricity on the planet at one point. And I think the elite know it. So, we just have to kind of go with the flow. But the point is, if people have something to kind of put their grit into, this is really important. You have to have the fire within to be able to awaken. If you're just kind of like, everything's fine, they're just doing everything they need to do. If you don't have that fire, you will never awaken. So you have to kind of with people and get them kind of zipped up. So, I do my part on Facebook every day. I'm always saying something about, vaccine passports or something. And, just it's because it's programming, right? If you just keep doing that drip, drip, you're going to help, somebody awaken. So even if it's just one person. So that's about it for today. And I'll zip this together for you guys. And I'll start the inner earth. I want to do a little video on that. I just have a little bit of information to go through with that. And then we're getting closer to the health, okay? The thing about astrology, what I've really understand now, is that you can understand how to heal yourself through astrology. And this is really what I want to bring forth in a really, professional way, is to show this. Because all this with my face and my problems down here with my, liver or whatever, my bowels, was all in my astrology wheel. It showed that that's where I was going to manifest an imbalance. Okay. And this was why I knew that it was tied to this. I was like, oh my God, it's showing me in my wheel. So it's a bit complex to understand, and I have to kind of get everybody to learn it. I can't just ramble on about it. It has to be something that you have to learn all the way of looking at astrology so you can kind of grasp it. And it's exciting because we can start to see, how astrology can help us stay away from big pharma, right? And the other thing, there's also aspects in the astrology wheel that can tell you, how you're going to be at the end of your life. If it's going to be a physical issue or if it's going to be more of a mental issue, what's going on there. So it's really fascinating, but this is ancient astrology that I think they just didn't want anybody to know because it's very empowering. So signing out, and It's so nice. I can't believe how beautiful it is here. And I'm going to go out and do some more gardening and then get on the computer later today and do some more readings. And I thank you guys that have supported me with the readings. And I apologize if there's any miscommunications. I'm getting a new computer next week. And I'm going to have some of the automated readings coming quicker because it's all going to be programmed. And then I can focus a little bit more on the online school, and that's going to take a little while to get the computer going, but I'm pretty excited because I have a lot of support system now with John in Scotland, and I have Cheryl helping me with marketing, and we're going to start to pull this all together and bring this information to you guys because I think it's very empowering, and that's what we want to feel right now. We don't want to feel like we have no power. We want to feel like we have power, but it's ancient knowledge power that kind of like bypasses what they're trying to do. Okay, so check in with my videos and just share. Okay, because the more people like can get to this information, the more people we can help, and that's all part of our journey, is to help others, not just help ourselves. Okay, take care, guys. Bye. Okay, so here are the lyrics from Tir na Nog from Van Morrison. And he's really talking about the inner earth and where the Tuath de Danann go. Okay, so we are standing in the kingdom and by the mason gate. We stood enraptured by the silence as the birds sang their heavenly song in Tir na Nog. We stopped in the Church of Ireland and prayed to our Father and climbed up the mountainside with fire in our hearts. And we walked all the way to Tir na Nog. I said with my eyes that I recognized your chin. It was my long-lost friend to help me from another lifetime. We took each other's hands and cried, like a river when we said hello. And we walked to Tir na Nog. We made a big connection on a golden autumn day. So that ties into the Osiris festival. It's in autumn, October. We were standing in the garden, wet with rain, purple rain, right? Most likely. And our souls were young again in Tir na Nog. And outside the storm was raging, outside Jerusalem. We drove in our chariots of fire, following the big sun in the west, going up to Tir na Nog. We came into my life, you came into my life, and you filled me, and you filled me. Oh, so joyous by the clear, cool crystal streams, where the roads were quiet and still, and we walked all the way to Tir na Nog. How can we not be attached? After all, we're only human. The only way then is to never come back. Back here, right? Except that I wouldn't want that, would you? Because we do come back eventually. If we weren't together again in Tir na Nog, we've been together before in a different incarnation. And we loved each other then as well. And we sat down in contemplation. Many, many times you kissed mine eyes in Tir na Nog. And it was just such a beautiful song. You have to listen to this song. I won't do it for the copyrights, but you really need to listen to this. There's another video that one of my clients, Terry, sent me, and this was all about phosphorus and a lady explaining the alchemy of phosphorus. I'll leave it in the link below. I thought it was really interesting because she's tying it into that's in the body. Finally, somebody's talking about that through alchemy, and that it's really Lucifer. Because we know phosphorus is Lucifer, but she's starting to talk about how Lucifer is in us. Okay, so that was really interesting. It's not a long video. I'll drop that as well. And then this other alchemic video that had the secret teachings of all ages. And I'll drop that alchemic video as well down below. I'll also drop the doctor who's talking about the salt water cleansing your toxic blood. And his name is Darko Valkek, I think. And I'll drop his link in the description as well. And here is my crazy before and after pic. before I did the liver cleanse with the salt water and the olive oil and the grapefruit. It was brutal to do. You can just maybe I can find the link and I'll drop that in there too. But it's a tough one. You know, maybe it's better to just do the salt water and to see how you feel, because just even him, the doctor, saying just doing the salt water, if you're really toxic, you're going to have a huge reaction. Your symptoms, like you're going to be purging. And you're going to feel quite sick. So I think I just like shocked my system, because I'm pretty healthy, I'm pretty clean in many ways, but it was just I was doing too much bread and then coffee, and that was just havoc for my body. And then the turmeric. Okay, so it's 24 hours after, you know, and you could say, oh well, you're just like holding water to retention, but actually I don't feel like I am. I don't feel bloated. I was feeling bloated in the first pick. Okay, so you can see my skin changed, and it's like crazy. Okay, so I really see a difference, and I think it's pretty amazing, and I do feel better now. So I just wanted to show you guys this. This is this is me at my worst here after a whole winter of not feeling terribly great. Come on, little guy, let's go see what's going here. Look what we got. Look what we got. There's a lot of syrup. Oh my god, it's so full. Oh, it was so warm yesterday. Check it out. Check it out. Ah, that's a lot of syrup. Wow, a lot of water. Maple water. So good for you.